Okay, so if you guys can see my screen, log into Leadstreet and you'll be put on your dashboard. Your dashboard might look different, but I'm going to use Krantz's team just as an example today. But to get to all of your clients and stuff, you're going to go to your client tab. Sorry, I had to let Lisa in. Your client tab and then contact list. And it's just going to bring up all your contacts. Again, you might, have 0 contacts, a couple, doesn't matter. I'm not going to get into how to upload like your contact list into Leadstreet. I tried to do that personally, and I just would recommend that if you guys don't have any contacts in Leadstreet and you're wanting to upload a CSV file of your contacts to start utilizing it, I've had the best luck just going through tech support to have them help me kind of get it into the right format and upload them there. So I would just kind of work with them as far as uploading. But once you get them in, that's kind of what I'm talking about today. So anyway, so we're going to talk about the contact list and like this screen right here. So your default is always your active contacts. So anytime you hit this contact list, it's going to bring up this page, which is mainly all your actives. And that's just what the default is. It also has a really great sort feature. So you can sort by first name or last name. And also the search bar in here is really great too. Like it only takes a couple characters to find what you're looking for. And if you hover over this question mark, you can, search by name, email, contact type, group, created date, last contact date, web activity date, or status or source. So you can search through all different kinds of keyword platforms on Leadstreet, which makes it a really easy feature. So I just want to make sure that to explain that you can sort as well. And then we're just going to like pick a contact. I'm going to find one that I put in here. So we're going to talk about missing information first. So as you can see, when you have contact lists, like the goal of creating your contacts in Leadstreet is to put as much information as you want to. It even has spots for notes and things like that. But let's just say for the sake of example that you guys uploaded your contacts, or maybe you got a lead, but it didn't give you all the information. So I put my phone number in here to show that sometimes when you upload your contacts, it'll put certain things in wrong fields. So that sort button again comes into play because you can, sort different things and figure out what missing pieces you're having with your contact list. So once you find the one that you want to edit, you just come into it, click on it, and it'll come into this contact information page. And this is really where you want to put a lot of your information for your contacts. I'm going to kind of go through each section of this. So your prefix is your Mrs., Mr., whatever you want. You don't have to have it, but I usually put it in mine just to be professional, but you don't have to. And then if you want, you can come in here and just edit, put in whatever you want. If you know their address, home phone, cell phone. You don't have to put the dashes, but I do. And also you have these dates here. What's really cool about these dates is if you know like your client's birthday, anniversary, home anniversary, or wedding anniversary dates, if you input the dates of those in there, your like email list will automatically send them a happy birthday card or email, a home anniversary card or email, or a wedding anniversary card or email automatically. So it's kind of a free touch if you utilize those date options. So I just want to make sure to point those out. And if you guys think about it ahead of time and you're talking to your clients, maybe make it a part of your pre-listing questionnaire, or maybe your buyer's pre-listing questionnaire to kind of get that information for your contact list. So it'll automatically touch them for you. Your second contact segment here is like for a spouse. So if you want to do a husband and a wife, you can just fill out husband or wife information here, which is pretty handy. And then that brings you down here to this communication segment. But first, before I get into that, I just want to update the changes that I made because I moved the email address down from the first name. So that's going to update everything from this communication segment down. So Once I just did all this, I'm just going to hit update contact. And then it'll update it for you, bring you back to the same screen. So then I can go down and you can see this communication tab here where I can change my email salutation if I want, or my label name if I want. So I can do like Kaylen and hit update communication. Now, what's great about that feature is when you guys are going to do email marketing through Leadstreet, so if you're going to use any of the templates or create your own email, whatever, your token, which is what it's called, I'll bring it up in just a second, on those emails where it says, hi, contact first name right here, that inputs the name automatically. That's going to pull from your communication here. So whatever name that you have in your email salutation, or it's mainly the email salutation field, is how it's going to pull into that token. So just be sure that when you're inputting your clients or checking over maybe existing ones, that your communication line matches whatever name you want used in that email, if that makes sense. So, and also if you don't have, like, say it's a client that you found or found you on a lead and they didn't input their first name or last name, they just gave you an email address or a phone number, and you were to email them and you didn't have this communication thing filled out or their first name filled out, it's just going to say hi when the email goes through. So that's another reason why I'm showing you that. Make sure that you have your first name and your communication lines filled out. I already talked about second contact. So again, spouses. If this were in play for me right now, like say I wanted to add Thomas to this as my spouse, then again, you can come down here once you get that information added, and you can update your salutation communication to be both of them. You could do Thomas and Kaylen, you know, however you want that to look, but you can update that as well. So it'll pull both names into your token, into your emails. So if you want to import contacts, like I said, I'm not going to show you that process. I would just go through tech support to get help with that. But again, I just want to mention that in your contact list, when you import, some of those fields might come in differently. So again, just make sure that if you do upload, that you're checking each one to make sure each thing, as far as their information, is in the right field for you. And you can also, again, when you are on your contact page, you can sort a whole bunch of different ways. Waiting for it to load. But you can do, you know, active, the difference between clients and contacts, which we'll get into a second, duplicates. You can even come down here to email, and you can look at emails that maybe have unsubscribed to your emails or invalid emails as well. So there's just a lot of different ways that you can sort your contacts and find the ones that you're looking for, or find the ones that you want to edit. So let's talk about invalid emails for a second. So if, for example, you had a client find you online, or you talked to somebody and they gave you an invalid email. Sorry, people keep joining. So you're just going to come down on your client dashboard to invalid email and click on invalid email. And then it'll give you a list of any that you have that are invalid. Now, the key to invalid emails is if you're inputting a client, you can't input an invalid email address. But like I said, maybe the client found you and inputted some of their information wrong within their email. So that's kind of how that would come into play. But if, for example, if you do have some in this category, just click on them. And you'll get a status up here that says invalid email address. And you can either retry an email validation, which will send them an email to validate their email address. Most of the time, though, it is because of, you know, like a typo or something like that. So just come down here and edit it if you know what's different about it, and just update it. And then your invalid email address will go away once it's corrected. So that's just a little bit about invalid emails and how to get past all of those. Any questions about that? Okay, cool. Hey, Brian. Okay, the next thing is making a contact a client. So there's not really like you can utilize clients or contacts when you're using your email marketing through here. So like you don't have to have everybody as a contact and you don't have to have everybody as a client, but it is important if you're trying to group things or if you want certain contacts to not be clients or vice versa. So just letting you know that there is a difference here. But if you wanted to make a contact a client, um, just find your contact. Sorry, it's taking a minute to look. You have to have an email address for your contact to become a client, obviously. So that way, that's just Leadstreet's way of like letting you know that you have a valid communication source through Leadstreet. But find the contact that you want. And this looks like an unsubscribed client, so maybe not the best example. Let me find one that's not. Sorry, guys, it's kind of being slow today. Okay, so this is one with an invalid email address. Let's just say, for example, I fixed her email address and got it to work. And then if I wanted to do to make her a contact, she's a contact now, but if I wanted to make her a client, I would just go down to this area property finder access, and I would just check this box and hit save changes, and it'll kind of move that contact to a client area. And if you won't, like if it won't let you move it, like if it won't let you check this box and hit save changes, it's because somewhere else in Leadstreet under somebody else, they're probably already a client. So just let you know if you have issues with that, get a hold of tech support and kind of figure out they might be under somebody else's team or another agent and see if we can merge those over to you if it is in fact your lead. So that's just kind of the difference between a contact and a client. Any questions about that? Okay, cool. Now we're going to talk about duplicates. Now, the duplicate feature in Leadstreet, I am personally a big fan of because when I started working my own list, I noticed that I had a ton of duplicates that I didn't even know about. But if you want to address your duplicates, you have this great feature on your dashboard. And if you just click into duplicates, maybe. And then you'll get put on this screen. So what's great about this is if you do notice that you have duplicates, you can come over here and click View Profile, and it'll give you that contact information just in a short screen. So you can kind of click between the two of them and figure out if there is any differences, if there's not, or if you want to delete one or not. But if there is no differences and you want to keep this contact, you can go over here and click on this box and then just click on merge duplicates and it'll merge both of those together. So a good example of this is like maybe you inputted this particular client, Abby, into your sources, and then you started inputting like notes to keep track of Abby and different things that she was doing. And then for some reason, like it also uploaded, it'll transfer all of those notes and any other fields that you had filled out on one into the other. So it's a really cool feature to merge duplicates that way. And like I said, just pay attention that things are the way that you want them in each profile and you know what's going to merge together. So that's a pretty cool feature. Any questions on duplicating or merging contacts? Okay. We already talked about dates. So again, just touching on birthdays, home anniversaries, and wedding dates. If those dates are entered, they'll get an auto email. So it's a pretty cool free touch. The next one that I want to talk about is the client type. So grouping and organizing. So again, I have messed around with this just a little bit more in depth, and I really kind of like the freedom that you get to pick and create your own groups or your own like statuses, things like that. So it's kind of a really cool feature. If you are looking for a specific group in your contact list, they have a category here called groups. So any group that you create will be in this category here, so you can have quick access to it. And let's just say the other thing, like if you're just on your active list where we are now, sorry, one second. I hate it when it's so slow. Blaming the weather and the clouds. So say you just created some new contacts and you haven't grouped them yet. Another way that you can easily group or add to an existing group that you have is just come in and select the contacts that maybe you added. And up here you have an assign to group option. And so if you already have your group created, you can just do a quick assign this way, which is pretty cool. Oh, what happened? One second, guys. It just closed my tab for some reason. So another way that you can do groups, other than just selecting them and doing that assign to group feature, is you can go into each contact too, and do grouping that way. So it kind of gives you more in-depth control if you want to do specific things. So the way to do that is just click on the client that you want to add to a group and come down here to this lead information section. And you have two kind of statuses that you can pick from. So your client status, if you want to get really specific, you can change it. The default's active, but you can do new, incubating, maybe qualified prospect, somebody that submitted an offer, something like that. Any status that you pick, you'll be able to sort with as well. So like if you have clients that maybe are in pending status, you'll be able to sort on your client dashboard for those pending statuses. So that's pretty cool. Lets you get a little bit more organized. And then over here on client type is just buyer, seller, agent. So whatever applies there. And then you also have this client classification. So I'll show you how to edit these in just a second, but you can pick and choose different ones. You can create your own to do even more in-depth grouping if you want. Like the defaults are hot, warm, cool, or referral, but maybe you want to create one that, you know, is a specific property address maybe, or a specific farming area. You could do specific condo areas and group them to their interest. You could group them for where they are in the stage of the process and create maybe like a pending, maybe somebody that's going to a closing table group. You know, you can just get as specific as you want. So it's really kind of a cool feature. And then you also get the option to add them to email distribution groups as well. So if you have email distribution groups, you can add those. And then when you're creating an email and you're ready to send it, in that other video I did, you'll have a drop box that comes down when you send it to pick what group you want to send that email to. So you can create email distribution groups here as well. So that's just one other way that you can group your clients, is you can go into each one specifically and get really active here on how to group them. So then I want to show you kind of how to change these classifications. I remember how to get there. Okay, so if you want to create a group or change some of those classifications, just go into groups here and it'll bring up this page, or you can just hit create group on your client dashboard like I did. And then you can come down, just scroll down, and then you have your client classification. So in here, you can edit the name, so you can change it to whatever you want, however you want to group those. You can also view certain members that are within these. So if you added somebody to a group and you weren't sure or whatever, you go into that specific group and view the members that are in it, which is pretty cool. It's really user friendly. So again, like once you change the name, just hit save and it's there. So it's not hard at all. The other way outside of that classification is just creating a group in general. So that's in here too. So you can create like one that says lead group, for example. And you could do a group description. So maybe it's, recruiting like me, maybe it's a Camdenton leads, like whatever you want it to be, and just hit create group and it'll create that group for you as well. So any questions on creating groups or changing classifications around? Awesome. And then some other things, just to kind of wrap this up. So your contact list is key. Just remember that it gives you a lot of great features for you to sort and, look at different things, merge, duplicate, whatever you want to do. And I already showed you this, but just remember that if you see a question mark on here, just kind of hover over it. It'll tell you more key features, give you a little bit more in depth into certain areas. The last thing I want to show you guys is how to do a property watch. So if you want a client to get a weekly or maybe a daily property watch email, how you can do that. So what you'll do is what a property watch does is it kind of engages your clients to utilize your website more, and then they'll get constant emails about just properties that you want them to be aware of. So it's kind of a cool feature, but you're just going to go to your client, and then over here you have a, sorry, I got to go into one. Web activity. So you'll go into your client that you want to do your property watch for. Over here on the side in your client, you have this web activity here. And then you're going to do this scheduled home trends report. So you'll just hit create. Sorry, guys, people are still logging in, which is cool. And then you can do zip codes. You can do specific like complexes or neighborhoods. And once you kind of get, your search criteria, you can, dive deep. You can do price ranges, size, more, all properties. So whatever criteria you want this property search to have in it for your clients, just make sure that you've marked everything and then do a safe search. We'll just call this one Camdenton because that's the zip code that I used. You can pick when it emails you updates. So immediate, once a day, 3 times a week. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, weekly or bi-weekly. And then also you have the option to email me weekly open houses for this search as well. So if anybody posts an open house, they'll get information about that as well. So once you get all of this, you're just going to hit submit. And then you can go back to your client activity page. And you can see that now this particular client will have a web activity search for that particular area, whatever your demographics were. So that's kind of pretty cool. You can also view it or adjust it and edit it if you would like to. So that's just kind of how to do a property watch. So does anybody have any questions about that? Also, your clients can be on multiple. So like if they're looking in Camdenton, Lynn Creek, and Osage Beach, you can have property watches for all of that, and they can be a part of all of that. They don't have to have just one, which is pretty cool. So any more questions? That's kind of just about contacts, organization. If you guys have any problems at all with uploading your contacts or creating a contact, just let me know. It's really user friendly, so don't be afraid to go in there and play around. You can always delete what you've made. So that's what I got today.
Thanks, Kaylen.
Hey, you're welcome.
See ya.
Let me know if I can help you guys.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you,
Bye.
Kaylen.
Thank you.
Bye.